Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta, to read the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta in interdisciplinary approach. Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta, this is because it's the Buddha's first lecture, more than 2,600 years ago. Interdisciplinary approach, because I think the philosophy in different disciplines today, may it be physics, may it be economics, may it be medical studies, humanities, I think all those philosophies, they are embedded in this Dhammacakkapavattana philosophy. That is why we use the word interdisciplinary approach, and this is the approach that our university has chosen to follow. In the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta, the Buddha repeated 12 times, Cakkung Uddapati, Jnanang Uddapati, Panya Uddapati, Vicca Uddapati, Aloko Uddapati. Some people like Max Weber, who like to distinguish between the what they call ontology and the secular. With that clear distinction, they think we have nothing to do with each other. And of course, there are different theories. And today you can see, for example, just one little book. This is from Harvard Business Review Press. Emotional Intelligence, Mindfulness. This is just a review of many researches undertaken by people from different fields, from different disciplines, from cognitive psychology, clinical psychology, to biology, to physics, to business studies, to humanities. It's just one of those summaries to tell us the kind of research that Buddhism is about, the Dhamma is about. Understanding this from the very beginning, as indicated in the welcome speech by Venerable Dr. Narinda and in the Buddhist, that the approach, the interdisciplinary approach chosen and adopted here as a practice is based on the way we understand the suttas, the Abhidhammas, the Vinayas, that they are very rich for human civilization. Whether you talk about the previous human civilization or whether you talk about the current one. My friend at the museum at Oxford University, he specializes in quines study. I invited him once to Citigo International Buddhist University to ask him to present some of his findings. He showed us, some of the quines in the early Buddhist kingdoms in Afghanistan, in what is now Pakistan, and also some part of India. You can see the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta, or the Turning of the Wheel, imprinted on the coin. You can see that the thinking of the Buddha was influencing some people who rule the country. This is despite some of the claim like by a philosopher from Hawaii University, Professor David Kalupana, who said that the Buddha couldn't influence any of the kings during his time. That may be so if you talk about, say, the model of governance, whether you talk about democratic system, whether you talk about oligarchical system, whether you talk about monarchy system. You know, maybe the Buddha didn't have a lot of influence on them, because people wanted to justify their status. Their status is that kingship or power, political power, is a divine given, is given by God. So you, as the population, as the citizen of the country, you don't have any right to choose your leader. The Buddha didn't go along that, as you know. In the Aganya Sutta, the Buddha said, no, it's a social contract. The word social contract is by some Western philosopher, like philosopher at Oxford, Rousseau, and I think another one, maybe Hobbes. You know, they advance social contract philosophy. Social contract is a contract between the ruler and the ruled, the citizen. Okay. As a citizen, as a member of the society, I need security. I need the security that people will not damage my property, that I can go wherever I want peacefully, without being harmed, without being disturbed by anyone. And if I grow a certain crop, I want that to be respected by other people as my property and not disturbed. What this means is that, okay, we elect someone to take this responsibility. Okay, this responsibility of harmonizing the society, ensuring the security, ensuring, of course, as things progress, also the distribution of wealth among the people. But we elect him. The word elected, a person elected, is used here in Myanmar. President is called Sammata. Sammata is from that particular sutta. It's called Mahasammata. It's someone great because he's going to take this responsibility, and he is therefore elected to serve the people. Mahasammata. In turn, the people, they do their part. Where this person will not have to grow his food. Instead, we will feed him. So we pay him some taxes, some duty. You see, it's a contract between the ruled and the ruler. It's far from divine give it authority. This concept, which rejects Almighty Creator God, is the very basis of the Dhamma. You can talk about meditation. You can talk about why we do when we go about our life. When we pursue what we have chosen. This is because we think we can do it. We don't need someone to come and bless us. We can do this out of our own effort. So, the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta, as you can see, but here, before I briefly talk about the Pali version of the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta, I'd like to tell you what you already know. In Theravada Buddhism, we believe the turning of the Dhamma wheel takes place once and once only. And the version that we have, the teaching on the Four Noble Truths, is the complete one. It's complete to the extent that it can encompass, it can embrace all the philosophies that come afterward. But Mahayana Buddhism has a different or perhaps an extended view. That is the second turning of the Dhamma's wheel, the second turning. In the second turning, the Buddha taught shunyata, emptiness. And then came, out of that, Vajrayana Buddhism, what is popularly known as Tibetan Buddhism nowadays, isn't it? No, not just the second, but the third also, the third turning of the Dhamma's wheel. At the third turning, the Buddha taught Tantra practices. But Tantra is not available, Tantra teaching is not available in Mahayana teaching, nor in Theravada teaching. But today, with respect to all the Mahayana and Vajrayana scholars, I'm focusing on just Theravada version of the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta. I say with all due respect to my brother and sister from Mahayana and Vajrayana school, I say this consciously because for the last 7 years, we have worked together, and we have produced one book. It's called Common Buddhist Text. It was based at Mahathiralagong University in Thailand. We have scholars from 10 countries working together, East and West, Theravada, Mahayana and Vajrayana. We say, some people say Mahayana first, and then Theravada and Vajrayana say MTV. It's not television, it's 3 schools of Buddhism. And we have produced one book together, extracting from our canonical texts. And that book is available in our library. I had the privilege of chairing a compilation committee. So I have learned a lot from them. We have differences, but we didn't use the word differences like Dean did earlier. We used the word the richness. Because the Buddhist tradition is very rich. So we would like to celebrate our richness, and we also would like to demonstrate our commonality. Because those 2 points were the thing we focused on. So today, with them in mind, I'd like to focus the Theravada part, which I'm more familiar with. As you know, the summary of the first sermon of the Buddha, the Dhammacakkapavattana Sutta, is the Four Noble Truths. In order to present the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha first talked about two extremes. So the Four Noble Truths avoids two extremes, and avoiding two extremes means practicing the Four Noble Truths. Is one and the same thing. Whenever there is a problem, there is one or the other extreme. So to overcome this, we have to find out first what is the extreme that we happen to subconsciously and habitually following, and what is that the other extreme that is against the one we are taking. So when we see these two extremes, in philosophy we can say we see a dialectic approach. A dialectic approach is called the meditative way. The heart of the Four Noble Truths is about accepting that problems exist here and now. They always exist. And they will be there for the future generation. They were there in the previous many generations. So living our life is about making sense of those problems, those obstacles that we face on a daily basis. It's not about invoking the blessing of the divine being, wishing that somewhere, perhaps in heaven or paradise, might be better than this. We call this ignorance. Charles Darwin said this is a flight mood, fight and flight. And this is flight mood. So the Buddhist approach in the Four Noble Truths is to face problems happen. So in meditation, what we do is when we have wandering mind, we consider this as a problem, something difficult to bear with, or entirely dukkha. And what we do is, we try to understand this. Pankho panidam dukkha ariya satcham parinye. This is something that can be understood and should be understood, had to be understood. Once we accept that the problem is there, on this basis, now we go on investigating as if a doctor or a team of medical professionals do examination about your illness. But first and foremost, acceptance that there is illness on your part is very important. Actually, it's vital. So the contribution of the First Noble Truth is therefore the encouragement of the Buddha to human being to actually stop and examine the problem of the world. Why we call this philosophy? Because from the time immemorial, people, they always wondered, they have wondered where we came from, why we are here. That kind of philosophical question has always bothered human beings. We need to know our purpose. To know that purpose is very important for us to make sense of what we're experiencing. You know, when we do meditation, we need our teacher to explain us our experience because we need to make sense of this. If we can't make sense, our experience keeps bothering us, bothering our mind. If the teachers say, this is normal, don't worry, this kind of problem is always there. You are not alone. But with that word of encouragement, we persist with the practice. So acceptance. Acceptance is only part of that. In Burmese we say, the bedside one. 4 tasks that we have to do with regard to the 4 truths. The first one is to understand, the second one is to remove, the third one is to attain, the last one is to cultivate. The bedside one. We breathe just 4 words. It's okay to say in Burma, in Myanmar, 4 words, not in English. If you say 4 words, that's very bad. That means something swearing in England. Okay, so you don't use the expression 4 words. Okay. So there is an attempt to understand where we come from. Where we come from. I'd like to quote Professor Kalupana from Howard University, The Wheel of Morals, Dhammacakkapavattana. This is his lecture. It contains a few chapters. There is one Indian professor from USA who has given a lecture, even his book is bigger than this, also on Dhammacakka. But Indian scholar has also given a series of lectures on the Dhammapada. We have all of them in the library. I like to quote the philosophical foundation of the will, because the will is the symbol, which I will come back to a little while later. I quote this from page 23. The significance of these terms, the terms Buddhist-Samuppanna and Buddhist-Samuppada. The significance of this term is that they refer to the effect that has arisen based on a condition of a set of conditions experienced as being prior. But it's saying that the Buddha talks about cause and effect in the Four Noble Truths, causality. So when we ask, where do we come from? We are asking a question on causality. In Buddhist term, in Abhidhamma, in Patthana, because this is a question of conditionality, we expand it further in Buddhism. So with regard to this, the Buddha talks about the general foundation of the causal principle. As you know in the Pali text, Dhammassāmī sati idang hoti, Dhammassāmī asati idang hoti. When that exists, this comes to be. On the arising of that, this arises. When that does not exist, this does not come into being, come to be. On the cessation of that, this ceases. This is to show why things happen, why things don't happen. Because because central to the inquiry in philosophy is that what exists and what doesn't exist. These two questions. So the Buddha is saying, if these conditions are in existence, this one exists. If those conditions don't exist, this doesn't exist. For pre-Buddhist Indian religions, this is not the case. This is true also in all the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. That is why Professor David Kalupahana writes, again I quote, "For the sake of the explanation of experience, it is not possible to go to the absolute beginning. It would be necessary to start at some point." This is to say, you cannot say, it makes no sense in Buddhist philosophy to say that this lantern and the microphone that I'm using is created by God. We're not talking about the beginning. Or God created the inventor of these instruments. It doesn't make sense. We are, as a human, we are not in a position to retrace back. Our memory is not that good. But we actually can understand our past and project back to the future if we, and only if we understand the present moment. So the present moment is called experience. Experience. That's what we focus on in meditation. We focus on the present moment. And with that, we can extend our insight, our reach to the past, and perhaps also to the future. So much for the philosophical approach. I have in my hand, this is Mindfulness in Positive Psychology, a collection of many research articles, mainly by clinical psychologists, just to take, just to examine one component of the Eightfold Path, that is mindfulness or Dhammassāmī, and how that can be applied in clinical context. When I first went to England in 1996, meditation was not accepted in the mainstream. But now it's recognized by the NICE, that is National Institute of Clinical Excellence, who controls which medicine you can use in England, which type of treatment, medical treatment, is allowed in England. This scientific body recommends and actually gives authority that mindfulness meditation can be used in all hospitals, in schools, and also in prison. You can read it by yourself in the parliamentary report, The Mindful Nation UK, 2015, October. More than that, of course, you have, apart from the clinical psychologists, you also have academics in psychology working on something like this book, the original Buddhist psychology, what the Abhidhamma tells us, about how we think, feel, and experience life. This is beyond the self. Conversation between Buddhism and neuroscience. Neuroscience. Between the professor of neurology and a meditation teacher who was once a biologist himself. You can also see acceptance taught in the first sermon leads people to train their mind, to improve themselves, even with regard to something terrifying, such as death, the experience of death. If we examine fear, what we fear about, where fear comes from, if we examine this, if we contemplate on this, in the scripture we call this maranasati, mindfulness on death. If we do this, this will enhance how we live our life. You can see one book, The 5 Invitations. This is a Buddhist meditation teacher writing this book, big book. I just got it the other day. I haven't read this. A forward is by medical practitioners. So something that people don't talk about. But if we follow the teaching in the first sermon, we can embrace them. And those fears, they will have no power to influence us anymore. And this will be a big change. Of course, there are many other studies on this. One of them is by my friend, Professor Dhammassāmī de Silva. These are a collection of lectures that he gave at a conference at International Theravada Buddhist Mission University. Emotion and the body in Buddhist contemplative practice and mindfulness-based therapy. And of course, you have anger management, something like this as well. You have something popular, writing on Buddhism, like the New York bestseller by an ex-Catholic nun, Karen Armstrong, as well. So, in addition to philosophy, the study of Buddhism has gone into psychology, neurology. Of course, I don't know much about pure sciences, but in 2012, at the examination school of Oxford University, a team of physicists from France, they work on the causality, the Paticcasamuppada in Theravada Buddhism, Madhyamaka in Mahayana Buddhism. They work on that and quantum physics. This book is what I quote very often in my Dhamma talk, The Telomere Effect, by a Nobel Prize winner, Professor Alistair Blackburn from Berkeley. She's a DNA expert, and she won the Nobel Prize in Biology and Medicine in 2009. It talks about how mindfulness can help you all, strengthening the health of your telomere. Telomere, as you know, is the end of your cell. If your cells live longer, then then you're likely to age quicker, maybe to live shorter. And she relates that, to stress that we have. And how do we manage that with mindfulness and meditation? One of the phrase that I really like from this book is that your cells are listening to your thoughts. Your cells are listening to your thoughts. Of course, in order to accept, to learn how to accept and not to reject things straight away, what we don't like, what we feel uncomfortable, we need to train our mind, starting from something simple and small, focusing at a time on one breath, in and out. Teaching not just the conscious mind, but also the subconscious mind to stay calm, to expand uncertainty. In psychology, we say subconscious mind is a child. So, to teach our subconscious mind, all the habits that we have, and fear is a habit, all of them, they exist in our subconscious mind. And we have to reach down to our subconscious mind so that we understand ourselves. The way to do that is the path called the middle path that we can construct using or accumulating 8 components. One point I'd like to tell you, I have got an email recently from someone who is doing a PhD on the first sermon. Okay, the question is why the Buddha said in the first sermon, I'd like to recite in Pali, Yawa kiwanja bhikkhave ime sujjatu su ariya sajjesu evam diparivattan vadasakaran yatha buddham jnana dasanam nasui suddham ahosi neva tavaham bhikkhave sa devaki logi sa maraki sa brahmaki sa samna brahmaniya pachaya sa deva manusaya anuttarang samma sambuddhi abhisambuddho pachanyasi. And this is why there is no enlightenment. And the next paragraph is why there is enlightenment. Understanding the Four Truths, there is enlightenment. No understanding of it, no enlightenment. So the Four Noble Truths is what makes enlightenment possible, realizing it. The question that I received is that these 2 passages don't make sense. Why should they be here? So this is in textual analysis. If you study text, which we are going to do here at SSBU, you're going to read the text closely, carefully, from philosophical viewpoint, and also from historical viewpoint.